Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I have an announcement that Flare Networks has announced that they have an announcement which will be coming in the next week or so about the Spark token distribution. Did you follow that? Look, I'm telling you what, you're not in crypto if you don't make announcements about future announcements. And so look, there's a lot that was covered. What's happening here is Hugo Filion, hopefully I'm saying the last name right, who is the co-founder and CEO of Flare. He was in an Ask Me Anything session, and there's all sorts of awesome information that was covered. So all sorts of people asked thoughtful questions. He gave thoughtful responses, and I'm actually going to highlight some of that in this video. But I will share with you even at the outset now that in terms of the Spark token distribution, I have a suspicion based on what he said that it's not going to be released within the time frame that they were initially expecting. And this is speculation for me. I'm not saying that they won't hit it, and you'll see why as we go through this. But even if that ends up being the case, it's not some sort of huge negative. This is not the end of the world. When it comes to development of software in general, it's very commonplace that targets actually not get hit. And to me, it's just much more important that ultimately, there's a release of a product that is secure and works as intended. So however long it takes, I'm okay with the pushback as long as it results in a product that works right out the box. But look, I want to be clear at the outset here. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. You definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. But the good news is in terms of when the Spark token is actually being distributed, the good news is we're going to have an answer on that very soon, I believe here. And so what I did was I actually went ahead and printed off this. There's a link from this Twitter account here, ftso.eu, wrote imminent updates from Flare Networks in the next 7 days with a big surprise coming. And so what I did was I actually just printed up the Ask Me Anything, which was right here, and I highlighted the questions that I found to be the most interesting. I didn't want to go through all of them because the video would just be way too long here. And so I tried to be reasonable, which is subjective, but I think I'm doing okay here. And so here's a question that was asked to Hugo Filion, again, the founder and CEO of Flare. What are the issues Flare is trying to solve? And then here's his response. Hugo wrote the following. Flare exists to solve two key issues. First, and of immediate importance to the building out of our industry, is that approximately 65% of the value that exists in public blockchain cannot be used in a trustless manner with smart contracts. And so let me pause right there. And this is also one of the reasons that I will not be surprised if Spark tokens are worth an absolute fortune in the future. And I still think that's true of XRP too. And I can imagine like anybody jumping in. So, oh, you already think this is fantastic about XRP, and now this coin, which happens to be associated with XRP, it's also going to be the bee's knees. Sounds a little biased, right? Well, look, I don't know for sure if it's going to be, but I'm taking in information from people that really seem to have a firm understanding of this, because this is something I'm still learning about. I don't pretend to know everything about the Spark token. I think I have a pretty darn good handle around XRP in a general sense, but with the Spark token, I'm still learning. But here's the thing. When I jumped into crypto in late 2017, one of my earliest questions when it came to smart contracts, it had to do with Ethereum specifically. It's where I first thought about it. And it's like, okay, so there's this blockchain that enables smart contracts. Smart contracts not really used today. That was me saying that back in 2017, still not really widely used, I think it's fair to state here. But it doesn't mean there's nothing to it. It's actually I think could be functionally very useful, right? And so I sat there thinking, though, and I think I asked this in social media, maybe on Twitter. At some point I was asking, I was like, so why do we need the Ethereum token itself? Like, I get there's a blockchain with smart contracts. Why do we need the Ethereum token? And the answer ultimately was to pay for smart contracts. And I was like, okay, yes, but here's the question, like, why do you have to pay for smart contracts with this one token? Why can't it be done with anything else here? And so this is part of what they're getting at here with Flare Network, as he cited here in what I just read from you, but this is part of his response. He said that approximately 65% of the value that exists in public blockchains cannot be used in a trustless manner with smart contracts. Now, that's true of XRP. And that was an intentional design compromise, because you can't have a cryptocurrency that does all things does all things for all people. And so there was a possibility that at inception, XRP Ledger could have had smart contract functionality, and I've talked about this in other videos, I'm not going to get into it now, but XRP on layer 1, it doesn't have smart contract capabilities, but it has all sorts of other cool stuff, and it's blazing fast as a built-in decentralized exchange. But as a result, again, 65% of the value in the world of crypto, effectively in blockchain, it can't be used. And so they found a solution for this. You can basically plug in the tokens, but without changing the layer 1 code of the blockchain for those cryptos. That's part of the special sauce here. And so then he also wrote, second, and of both short-term and long-term consequence, there are potential issues with how scaling is being implemented for smart contract networks today. The majority of new networks use proof of stake or its variants. These protocols derive network safety from their native token. Flare does not do this, which we see as a key advantage. Well, yeah, that's certainly true. You can plug in all sorts of tokens. And as far as proof of work, and he said this a number of times, actually, because some of the questions, there's a little bit of overlap. But, in terms of proof of work and proof of stake, there are a lot of shortcomings with it. But I'd always thought, like, if you just had a blockchain where you could pay for smart contracts with anything, wouldn't that be a better solution, assuming that it scales sufficiently? I was thinking this in 2017. Wouldn't that be better? And it didn't exist, and now it's like it's here. Doesn't that win? Like whatever it is, like, because you can plug in anything, right? And so we'll see. But this has never been done before. What's being done with Flare Networks, which I also think is part of the reason that this Spark token airdrop, it's as far as I know, it's the largest airdrop in the history of the cryptocurrency asset class. I've never seen so much support. You have at inception over 100 cryptocurrency exchanges that are participating in the airdrop. You already have developers that are building on top of the Flare network, which hasn't been like there's all sorts of stuff. There's Flare Finance and others. It's just, in fact, actually, this is the next question. Check this out. Somebody wrote, it seems that there is a huge adoption of the Flare network by third-party development teams such as Flare Finance, Gala Games, 888. Tell us more about the ecosystem building around the Flare network, and why did they choose to develop over Flare? And so here was Hugo's response to that. There are two main reasons for the adoption of Flare by third party. The development community is developing new innovative products such as virtual worlds, new DeFi protocols, and non-fungible tokens, but once they start testing, they find that the existing networks are just too slow and too expensive. Since Flare runs Ethereum Virtual Machine, many of these developers easily migrate to the Flare platform, which enables high transactions, fast finality, and cheap gas. So pause right there. Think about this. Trying to, if you're comparing functionally what the Flare network can do, assuming it runs as designed as promised, if it actually performs the way that it's being built here, if you can compare that to what's happening on Ethereum with non-fungible token, even just talking about non-fungible tokens, you can talk about just anything, but how is there going to be a comparison? Because with outrageous gas fees and scalability issues, you don't have these, right out the gate, you already don't have these. And so that's why, and I don't have a firm answer on this. I don't know for sure that the Spark token is going to be around a decade from now. There's no way I could know that. But I'm sitting here looking at all, just with the bit of understanding I do have to this point, and I'm just sitting here thinking, again, like I just said, doesn't this win? Why would why would this not win? And so, and it doesn't, by the way, to be clear, there doesn't necessarily have to be one winner for any particular application. But even if there's going to be multiple winners, why wouldn't this be one of them? Especially given that in terms of the way that they're going to market, that nobody has created solutions quite like this before. I've never seen anything like this. And so he then wrote, and this is covered in the previous question too, but 65% of the blockchain value is locked in non-Turing complete tokens. Since the Flare network will enable these tokens to participate in decentralized finance, gaming, and non-fungible tokens, the potential funds on the Flare network could easily exceed any other network, making decentralized apps on the Flare network much more profitable. And so look at it. I don't think this is Hugo sitting here being cocky. Because think about this. On other platforms, you're very limited to how much value can be unlocked on those platforms. This is designed so that you can integrate whatever you want to and integrate. And it's sort of like the community has to approve it. I understand that too. But I'm just saying, starting with XRP, and then you've got other coins out there, including Litecoin and some others. And so again, as he stated here, the potential funds on Flare Network could easily exceed any other network. I would love to see it. I don't know for sure if that's going to happen, but that doesn't sound wacky to me, right? If anybody thinks it sounds wacky, articulate your reason in the comment section below, but to me it does not. Then let me move a little bit further ahead. I think I had something. Yeah, here we go. Next question. What are the advantages of holding the Spark token? Yeah, you guys are going to love this one. I would like to know if Spark Tokens teams are receiving sufficient audit because many projects are vulnerable to hacking nowadays. And so I'm not going to read his whole response here, but there are a couple things I did want to highlight this, and just for the sake of brevity here. One thing he put down, he wrote this, that you should be aware of, and again, like, this is a primary reason to hold Spark tokens, and he wrote passive income. Leveraging my early experience in the financial markets, I realized that tokens need to be utilized to gain value. When designing the tokenomics of Spark token, I wanted to give every incentive for people using their Spark tokens. And so we'll see how the guts of that work. That's something that I personally, off the top of my head, am not yet aware of. But like I said, I'm still learning, and I will continue to share with you on this channel everything that I learn. And I'm sure at some point I'll be much more fluent than I am now. It takes the time. Like, this stuff's complex, and there's a lot going on. But I'll share with you as I learn along the way. And one of the coolest things that I've always loved about being a member of the XRP community is that it's a learning experience, but we're all working together to share the most important and accurate information that we can via social media. And so that's why for me, it's always been about community. Like, that's one of the reasons I love running this channel, is I get to share what I know while acknowledging I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything. And then I learn from you guys too. And it's just a fantastic experience, and I love that. And then another part of his answer here, though, was he simply wrote, surprise, in all capital letters, by the way, surprise, it's a big one. Follow our blog during the next week. So that certainly caught my attention. What is the surprise that is going to be announced next week? I'm sure I'll be making a video about it, but I've not a clue here. But it does seem like we're going to have a delay here. That might be what's up next. Let me check here. I think it is, actually. Let me check here. All right, so yeah, here we go. Now we're getting to. So what is the current progress of the Flare network to completion? And Hugo wrote the following. Regarding distribution and preparations for launch, we will put out an update in the next 7 days. And then he wrote, better to make sure the network and all systems are running well before asking for liquidity to be pushed through it. See our announcement coming in the next week for more clarity on launch and how we are trying to make the system as robust as possible. And so that right there already sounds like, oh yeah, there's going to be a delay, which again is not the end of the world. It's totally fine. But hopefully when this announcement does come out, I'm hoping there's finally going to be a deadline, because there's just been this really fairly broad window. I forget how it was worded. It may have been like beginning of July plus or minus 6 weeks. It may have been worded something like that. I'd have to go look it up again. I've talked about it on the channel, but whatever it was, it looks like it perhaps is going to be missed. But I'm really curious as to what the new target is going to be. In fact, are they even going to let us know what the target is? So basically, they have let us know. This is an announcement that there will be an announcement about the distribution of Spark tokens finally. We haven't had an update on that since, I think, April, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a hot minute. I'm looking forward to see what's going on here. And that's why, for me, it's like, I don't know if there's an opportunity that's genuine for passive income. It looks like if it looks like this thing's starting to get adopted over a span of years, maybe I could be enticed to not sell my Spark tokens, or not all of them. We'll see. I want to know more about the specifics, and as soon as I figure that out, I'm going to share it with y'all. But what if it's more enticing to have a passive income holding your Spark tokens rather than just selling them for a quick buck? What if that's the better move? So we'll see here. But I'll go ahead and wrap up for now. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.